In studio with me, Aluna from AlunaGeorge. What's up?
That was really cheesy of me to do.
So glad I did not wear my white Dickies jumpsuit today. We would have had to go pick up trash by the freeway after this.
I think you should go home and get it right now.
No, I don't think so. Hey, thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
You're opening for Sia tonight?
I am.
And how's that been?
It's been amazing. It's like coming home to the right home. You know, sometimes you can, I don't know if you've ever gone to the wrong house thinking it was your house and it just wasn't.
No.
So this is like not like that.
I've got on the wrong bus going home from school. There's nothing quite as shocking as getting on the wrong school bus and you look up and none of your friends are on it. And then you look at the driver and they don't look familiar. And then you have to go, they're all looking at you like, yeah, you're on the wrong bus. Stiff.
But now we have two things in common. We both have a Dickies jumpsuit, but also I've been on the wrong bus too. Has anyone else been on the wrong bus?
Anyone? No. All right.
Well, everyone's too clever. Everyone's way clever in this. Look, it's easy to do. You know.
When you walk, you want to
take the wrong turn,
like back down the steps and be like, I was never here. If I had a shrink button for all the times in my life that I could just shrink myself and get away, I'd have used it up twice. So many. I pulled a guy's pants down by accident in front of his family after a Bible study because I lost my balance on a stool. And as they're coming down, I could see his twig and berries like dangling between his legs. And in my mind, it's all happening in slow motion. Like, my God, at a Bible study. Like, how is this happening? I was trying to date his sister and it never worked out. Yeah,
I mean, she should have thanked you for that. Because, I mean, what sibling doesn't want their, other one to get really embarrassed?
I wanted to die so bad. Worse than
I get easily embarrassed. I got really embarrassed on stage yesterday. I don't know why.
Wait, that still happens? Because just talking to you right now, it doesn't seem like that would happen. What happened?
No, I sometimes I get all like vulnerable, and then I'll just say something, and then I'll be like, that didn't come. Oh, never mind. Oh, blah 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 blah.
Really?
I'm like that on stage. It's really funny.
Do you feel like when you're on stage, like you have to? Are you someone that likes to talk and engage with the audience a lot, or do you like? I just went and saw Radiohead. They said hello and good night, nothing in between.
But then, I mean, they have to know how much energy and obsession people are pointing in their direction, so they almost don't have to.
Yeah.
But I'm coming to people where they don't know who I am, so it's a little strange not to introduce myself at least. And, let them get to know where I'm coming from as an artist. And so I try and speak a little bit just to share, the fact that I'm not otherwise, what are they going to think?
Yeah. When you get up there, do you feel like, okay, I've been talking too much? Or do you go, hey, I want to let you guys know everything?
Well, I've learned from other artists not to make really long sentences.
Really?
Yes.
Who told you that and why?
No, it's when I'm in the audience, I'll hear the first couple of words and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. Because somehow it just does. You can't catch the words because you're just kind of like, ah.
I get it. I've been there and been like, what did they say?
What did they say?
I don't want you well to know that. And you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. They could be like, we love Lazy Eye Hitler. And you're like, yeah, me too. Okay, I want to talk about your new album, I Remember.
Okay.
Here's what's interesting to me. Someone said, well, what does she sound like? And I said, here's kind of what it is. And I hope you take this as a compliment because it's meant this way. I said, if Prince and Erykah Badu had a baby and it was raised in Diplo's house, that's what Aluna would sound like. That's what AlunaGeorge sounds like. I think that's
amazing. If I say that, will I sound like a dick?
Maybe.
Because you sounded great, but I feel if I compared myself to any of those people, I might just come across.
But don't you feel there's elements of those artists in your music? Because I hear it a lot, especially the Erykah Badu influence when you're just kind of riffing and just kind of the slow. I'm trying to think of the track that you guys have that has a slow, soulful music on it.
Well, maybe Mediator.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's like kind of pared back.
Yeah, I mean, most of our influences perhaps go back quite a bit further depending on like what area you're looking at. When it comes to kind of that soulful element, I'm really looking at someone like Etta James and Otis Redding and people like that. I love Erykah Badu, don't get me wrong, but she has such a unique character to her voice that to kind of almost emulate her, you would just...
You don't want to get caught in that?
No. And...
has that happened to you? Have you ever sung and all of a sudden you're like, hey, this sounds... I feel like in my head I'm starting to sound like so-and-so, I got to go back.
Not in my career, but when I was learning to sing, I was, trying to sing like Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston and Destiny's Child. And realizing wonderfully quickly that that's never going to happen. So I was like, all right, or what else can I do? I was listening to my like favorite artists were like Radiohead and Jeff Buckley, and they had a lot of, and PJ Harvey, and they had a lot of character in their voice. They weren't necessarily strong singers,
Right.
and I took a lot from that. I'm sort of thinking to myself, like, why do I really connect to these people even though they're not belting out the perfectly hit notes?
Yeah.
And it was really the emotion that they were communicating, and the vulnerability of being human, and the complexity of being human, and the lyrics that they were writing. And that's where I started to find my niche in music.
When you started writing and you're expressing these emotions, was it easier to express them through song at that point then? Because you're like, okay, this is my words. These are my experiences. I know you've written and said, hey, I try and write music that's accessible, that's not so personal that somebody else can't relate to it. But still, at that point, did you feel like, I guess what I'm saying is, these are my words, these are my feelings, and it's easy to let the feelings out and find my own voice?
It was a process. So as soon as I started working with George, that process really came to the forefront. And all of the songs I've written with AlunaGeorge have been from either my own personal stories or somebody I know who's told me everything.
Yeah.
And I've got a full perspective on what that story is. But it's always a human story. I don't really know how to make stories up. I'm not a storyteller per se.
Yeah.
I'm a much more of a listener. And but before that, it was really hard for me to write any kind of emotional based stories, because they would just come out as these like cyclical kind of sickly poor me type songs. So I left it for a long time, and then I learnt really some of the tools that you can use for writing songs that give this sort of structure to put your story through, like a lot of like poetry kind of rules and creative writing, and using the English language to try and put objectivity into a story.
I've always been impressed with that. Once on our radio show, we had a contest where each of us had to write a love song and perform it.
Wow.
Right. And it just turns out to be so crass, because it turns out being, first-time songwriters are writing, I love you because you're so great. You're like, what rhymes with great? You realize at that point, gosh, this is an outrageous talent when someone can freely express themselves through word. Amazing. I have a question for you that's completely off that, and I can't get it out of my mind. I watched your video for a song called Mean What I Mean. Did you guys film that at a water park in Barstow, or outside of Barstow, like on the way to Vegas? Is that where that was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I've driven by it a bunch of times and been so curious about it.
Now you know, on the inside it's magical.
Yeah, it is. You were filming there all day. What time of year was that?
That was, I think it's bad all year round, but
Yeah.
it was wind and sand constantly in the mouth and the eyes and the nose.
Yeah, I've ridden motorcycle up there. I know when you get up in that environment. So it was summertime?
Yeah, it was fully blazing hot.
Oh my God. And you guys are there the whole
The
day.
whole day.
Because I noticed the last shots, the sun's going down.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. How was it?
It was a grueling day.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. When I was gyrating with that wooden pillar that you see,
Yes.
that thing was full of splinters. So after every shot, I would have to go and take out all the wood from my hands.
Are you serious?
Serious.
Weren't you like, hey, I've got a different idea? Let's move on from the wood. Let's go to something else.
They were like, can you just do one more take? I was like, yes. And then like later on in the bath, I was just like pulling out the splinters.
My God.
Oh, the things you do for art.
That's my favorite song of all. I think that's got to be my favorite one. Just the vibe of it, because it does have kind of that MIA Lady Rockefeller like vibe to it. I like it.
You're just coming out with all the flattering like comparisons today.
They're not all my favorites, just that one.
Okay.
But I will say this: I was not as familiar with your music. I had heard the remix you did with Flume.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm familiar with this person. When they told me I was going to interview, so I sat down and started listening. I thought, this is a great day. Because have you ever come across some music that you didn't know was there, and you realize you really, really like it, and you've been missing out? It's like finding a new restaurant that has really good food you didn't know about. You're like, oh my God, this is great. And I feel that way about your music, sincerely.
Well, yeah, because people are coming to us from a perspective of not really knowing that we have a whole back catalogue of music.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. I think, over delivering is better than anything else, really.
I was reading notes on you. You guys wrote songs in L.A. You wrote
Yeah.
songs in London.
Mm-hmm.
Do those songs come out different because of the environment? Because it is so different, right?
Yes, I think that some of the songs that we wrote in Henley, because that was a residential, away, countryside type environment, the songs that we wrote there were very intimate and they had a lot of atmosphere. And so Mediator, as you can hear, was written there, and that's just so full of atmosphere. And George got some of his friends to come and do some live instruments and stuff like that, and he just really went to town on it. And something like Hold Your Head High, which is really about overcoming obstacles that you face when you're trying to do something special in your life. It was written in LA, the land of opportunity.
When you're doing an album recording, what time do you get up? Is there set rules like, hey, we got to be at the studio by this time, we got to work these many hours? Because for the average person, it's 9 to 5, get back in the traffic, and there you go. And I think we all dream, man, what would it be like to just be like, hey, for 3 days we're not going to work, we're just going to go to the beach, or that kind of freedom? Does that exist?
Well, I think once we get into writing mode, it's basically we push aside things like doing live shows and promo. So if you're not getting a song a day written, you're really wasting time, and you're going to lose that special time that you have that has been cleared in the diary to actually just focus on writing. So what we do is we just follow our enthusiasm, because I think we try and encapsulate that in the music. We don't just bang our heads against the wall and spend hours and hours and hours and hours
grinding,
trying to do something.
Yeah.
We know that, as owls, we can work into the night and things like that, but that the best period of time is like the kind of afternoon to the late evening, and those are the magical hours, really. When the sun's gone down, like we're night people, so
yeah. I'm the same way. I love early morning, from like 7 p.m. at night to midnight, and then from like 4 in the morning to like 9. That's my favorite. Mm-hmm. The rest of the time I could hibernate. I would love to be out during that.
Do you take naps?
No. I should, but I will say this. When I think about that kind of lifestyle, have you had a 9 to 5 job regular? Did you ever do like regular jobs growing up?
I've done a lot of jobs. Yeah, I did a 9 to 5 as an admissions officer in college.
Did you get business cards?
No, I probably made my own business cards when I was like trying to be all kinds of other things.
So there's the paper cutter trying to line them up.
I actually did make my own business cards. I remember now, like cutting them with a guillotine.
That's funny. And when you think about your experience now versus then, what's the biggest contrast?
Well, I thought when I was doing jobs like that, I thought I wasn't good at existing. I struggled a lot with the kind of daily. It's not the what, and I got confused with thinking that I wasn't good at working hard. I work harder now than I've ever worked in my life. So it wasn't that. It was just I wasn't very good at working without some sort of underlying drive to fulfill something. And as soon as I clicked that into my career lane, which is where you basically do all your work, until then I really didn't know what passion was. I didn't know what working hard was, and I didn't understand it. I just was like, I don't understand life.
Yeah. I think the 9 to 5 type person probably experiences that in short spurts. Like if you have a Pinterest project you're doing or something, that you like, say you're making a cake for a birthday party, you get into that mode where you're staying up till midnight and you're frosting it just right. And maybe that's what you're saying your day-to-day life is, because you found that lane that you can stay in.
Yeah, I mean, I do think of myself as really fortunate, mainly to have found my passion and to have had the opportunity to nurture it. Lots of people find their passion, or lots of people don't even find their passion, but the ability to actually take it and make it your career, your daily grind is it's really unique and special.
Yeah. Well, I like spending time with you, and I really like the music, and I appreciate the sacrifices you've made for art. So thanks for coming in today. The album is called I Remember AlunaGeorge. Aluna Francis, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet.